Hey guys, Brian from Boas here. When I got up this morning, I went into my snake room just to check on my red females like I do every day, and I'm really excited that my female Suriname red-tailed boa has finally given birth. Today is day 114 after the post-ovulation shed, or about day 129 after ovulation based on the numbers. So right now I'm going to go check on the babies and take the mother out and see how the litter looks. My Suriname had her litter of babies, so I'm going to just check on them. Looks like we got some back there. Actually, the first thing I'm going to do is take the female out and just give her a soak, just so get the smell of the babies off of her. So now the female soaking in a few inches of lukewarm water, just to get the smell off of her. We'll give her maybe half an hour or so while I'm checking on the babies. She doesn't want to stay in there. And of course I have a cover on the tub just so that she'll stay in there. Now I'm going to check out the babies and move them into a separate container. Just want to get these hiding places out of the way. So it looks like we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe some under the papers, 7, 8. That one's still in its, you can see it's in its amniotic sac. 8, oh I see one over there, maybe 9. I don't see any slugs or any stillborns, and they all look like they're perfectly formed, so that's really great to see. You can see this little one here is poking his or her head through the amniotic sac to try to get out. Oh, they look like really nice little babies, so they're really cute looking animals. Now I'm at the other side over here. I just want to get this hiding place out of the way. See if there's any babies under there. And then you can see the litter. You can see some little ones still trying to poke their head out of the amniotic sac, just looking around in the world for the first time. You can see one on the back wall of the cage is trying to move, but he's kind of sliding in the afterbirth. Probably the first, obviously the first time he's tried to move. Looks like the total count is 8 babies, and I don't see any slugs or any stillborns. This was actually the first time litter, and it's exciting because this is a second generation birth. These babies are born from babies that were born here back in 2015, so I'll be interested to get a closer look at these guys once they shed and see how their pattern is, and how much they resemble the parents in terms of the traits that I selected for in them. I went ahead and I moved the babies into a tub with some paper towels. You can see some of them are kind of squirming around now. Some other ones are still kind of laying low, just need to completely get out of those sacs. But overall, it looks like a really nice litter, some beautiful patterns and colors there. Now I'm just going to spray these guys with a little water, keep them moist, and I'm going to put them onto a heat mat set at about 90 degrees on one end of the cage. And later on I'll come and check on them and change the paper towels and maybe clean them up a bit. Definitely some really nice tail colors and tail patterns on these guys, and the patterns and colors will really come out once they shed. It looks like just a real beautiful litter that I'm really happy with. So I gave the mother a good soak, and now I'm going to go ahead and put her back in the clean cage. I cleaned it thoroughly just to get rid of any smell of the babies. We just want her not to associate that smell because that can sometimes make them aggressive. You can see she looks a little deflated, and you can also see this is a relatively small animal. She's about maybe 4.5 or 5 feet. She's 6 years old though, and with these Boas, it's often the age is more important than the size. So a small animal that's been slowly grown and properly fed, that's in the 5 to 6 year old range, typically will be a better mother than a younger animal that's been pushed to grow too fast and power fed just to get to have some babies in a quicker timeline. I'm going to go ahead and probably feed her a smaller than normal meal tomorrow, probably a small rat. And then I'm going to feed her a little bit more often than normal, just so she can gain that weight back on. And then she'll get the year off from breeding next year. It's been a couple hours now since they were born, and I went ahead and I changed the paper towels. And I'll continue to do this a couple times a day for the first few days, just because they have a lot of afterbirth and amniotic sacs and umbilical cords and other gunk like that, and you want to clean it out because it starts to get funky and start to smell. So you want to keep your baby boas nice and clean. You can see I put the boas in this sterilite tub. It's a 56 quart sterilite tub, and it's on top of a heat mat, an ultratherm heat mat that's set to maintain about 90 to 92 degrees. The other side is on the cool end. And so I'm just going to keep them like this for the first week or so until they're ready to move to their individual tubs. Here you can see a few of them trying to climb up the side. It's always entertaining to watch these little baby boas move around right after they're born. And usually they kind of huddle in piles. I think it helps them feel safe when they're in piles with their other litter mates. You can see another pile over on this side. And I actually miscounted. Somehow I counted 8 this morning, but when I recounted them there were 9. So it's great to have that extra baby. But just a really nice litter. This is really why I do this, and this is really what boa breeder dreams are made of, having these nice, beautiful litters of Suriname red tails. I threw a few more paper towels in there just to give them a little place to hide. And I'm going to go ahead and give them a spray. Just give them a spray of lukewarm water a few times a day. Just keep them nice and moist. To end, I thought I'd get out the father of the litter. So this is a 2014 Suriname red tail that was born here. This guy's actually a holdback from my first litter of red tails born back in 2014. And this guy was the #1 pick of the litter. Just truly a spectacular looking snake. He just immediately stood out because of how perfect his saddles are. They're very peaked and symmetrical. He's got a nice clean background and a very long red tail. Just a great animal. This guy's definitely one of the nicest boas I've ever produced. And personality wise, he's real cool as well. He's fairly laid back, especially for a true red tail. And just always enjoyable to get this guy out and just admire his beauty. So now I looked at the babies, and I did see a couple that kind of look like him. So hopefully he passed on his beautiful genes and we have some similar looking babies in the litter. The babies will take about 2 months or so to get feeding and established, but I will probably have some babies available at that point. So if you're interested in possibly acquiring one of these beautiful red tails, just please stay tuned to these videos for future information. I hope this video was entertaining and somewhat informative. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to shoot me a line. Thanks for watching, and enjoy your boas.